Morning Edition.
The number of murders that have taken place in 2021 was very concerning.
The church speaking out on crime in our country. Also,
the entire examination exercise was a success.
A detailed BJC and BGCSE report revealed, and
I applied to 9 schools in total, heard back from 8, and got accepted to all 8 thus far.
A law student proving hard work pays off. We have those stories and much, much more when the Morning Edition continues.
First, it's more than just our name, more than just our achievements. It's our nature, and it's where we put our customers. At Bahamas First, we've refreshed our look, but our nature remains the same. We design insurance solutions that protect our customers from life's uncertainties, whatever they may be. We equip you for the future so that you can recover stronger. Bahamas First, what's first for you comes first for us.
Everyone, I'm LaDawn Davis, and welcome to the Morning Edition. Taking a look at your weather forecast this morning. A weak cold front will continue to advance towards the central and southeast Bahamas through tonight as a high pressure gradually builds in its wake. It will be partly cloudy, warm and a bit humid ahead of the front, turning variably cloudy and cool behind that front. Expect increasing cloudiness along with isolated showers ahead and the vicinity of the frontal boundary through tonight. We'll get up to a high today of 79 degrees with an overnight low of 63 degrees. Let's take you out to our streets this morning where Lloyd Allen and the morning traffic team is standing by with your Tuesday traffic commute.
The traffic report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Well, it's a great start to your Tuesday morning. In this area this morning, we're at Nassau Street and Poinciana Drive. It's a low spike coming down already, but not enough to stop drivers from making their rounds to their various destinations. Already this morning, there's significant traffic on the road and in areas like this around the capital and country. We expect that to continue throughout the course of the day. This morning, we're also joined by Corporal Christopher Wims from the Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Division, giving us an initial look at traffic developments over the past 24-hour period.
Good morning, Lloyd. Good morning, Bahamas. We're happy to report that we had no matters reported to the police as a result of traffic accidents. However, in a total of 24 hours, we have a total of 11. 9 accidents with just damages only, 1 hit and run, and 1 accident with injuries. Moments ago, we had a report of accident with injuries, Mini Street, Balfour Avenue. We have a cyclist that is already on scene, and we're just standing by for an update.
Any obstructions there?
Not at this time.
All right, so some great news there, no obstructions. So if you're using that area, you should be able to access your destination. Also, this morning, Officer Wims, we want to talk about reminding drivers on the speed zone or the speed limit in school zones.
All right. The speed limits inside school zones is 5 miles an hour. However, when you exit the school zones, there are posted signs that are instructing you or informing you that, hey, you are exiting the school zones. From that point on, you can traverse through the city 25 miles an hour.
And then finally this morning, many persons who use this route to get to their various destinations, we know that there are some markings that have been placed down, some red highlights along the street here. I see officers are also on the street. What are those lines and markings on the road indicating to drivers?
All right, those markings, what you see at this particular roundabout, is for the drivers' convenience. They say, hey, this is very peculiar roundabout because it has a dual and a single entrance and exit. So that red marking that you see in that road is like a hazard sign that, hey, you need to merge safely into that single lane to travel on towards north on Nassau Street. You know that phrase, see something, say something. We want to remind the general public the truth. Anything that you see in terms of the road markings where it should be traffic signs, traffic lights out of order, contact the police. Are we here to make our city a better place every day. And in keeping up with our commitment, every day we're going to have road checks. We're going to be out here to inform the general public.
All right, well, some great information there. And of course, if you want to make ZNS aware, you can email myself. That's l.allen@znsbahamas.com for any inconsistencies or good celebrations as you make your rounds around the capital and throughout the country. Of course, that's been a quick look at your Tuesday morning traffic report. Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
Bloodshed among our young men continues to brew on our streets as the country already records 5 murders for the year. A murder every other day is not only putting ordinary Bahamians in fear for their lives, but children and loved ones are left to grieve and seek justice. Bahamas Christian Council President Bishop Delton Fernandez says our country is in a crisis and we must continue to pray for spiritual healing to cleanse the evil spirit wreaking havoc in our communities.
The number of murders that have taken place in 2021 was very concerning to the church community in the Bahamas. We realize that some of it is retaliation, some of it is drug-related, and the police have the intelligence from what is causing these murders. We are trying to do our best as a pillar of the society. We're involved with the Watch Council. We're involved with the Crime Prevention Council, that every area of our society that we can lend our input and our help, we are trying. And so we are asking that every citizen must step up in 2020. We've come too far and gone through too much in these last 2 years for us, our young men, to be needlessly taking the lives of our women, taking the lives of our children, and taking the lives of each other. That we are better than this, and as a church community, we hope to intervene to help us all move forward.
So the big question is, what is really happening on our streets? Is it retaliation, drug-related, or gang banging? To answer some of those questions for us is former gang leader and social activist Carlos Reed. Carlos, welcome again to the Morning Edition.
Thanks for having me.
It's the 5th day of the year and already 5 murders. Why do you think we're having all of these senseless killings?
You know, we have a lot of retaliation going on as far as the gang culture is concerned. We have bred some mindsets that we need to be able to deal with. When we say senseless, right, to us it might be senseless, but to the persons that are committing these murders and stuff, it's their way of life. This is what they've been taught. They've been taught that, look, I can't take loss. I need you to respect me, and if you don't respect me, this is the way we deal with it. When we look at different aspects of our society, I believe this is the message that we have sent. When you look at the House of Assembly and we see the way that the leaders of this country carry on, then what are we sending? What message are we sending to our young people? That we can't agree to disagree?
Now, you have been down this road before. What do you say to young men who are not only leaders of crime, but are initiating others to be a part of crime?
We got to be careful what we sow. You know, this country depends highly on tourism for us to survive. What are we going to do when your mama can't work and make a living to support the family? What are you going to do like when it's your young kids that on the other end of the stick end up dead or in jail? I believe that whatever bad that we make, this the bad that we're going to have to lie, and sometimes we got to stop and think and ask ourselves the question, why? Why am I doing this? Is this so important for me to put my life on the line, end up in jail for the rest of my life? Stop, just ask yourself why. Weigh it out. Make sure that it makes sense. And if it don't make sense, do something to change it.
And speaking of making sense, do you feel that we need to be more consistent with our rehabilitation and our prevention programs?
I don't believe that we invest the kind of monies or resources that we need to invest in rehabilitation. For instance, it costs the Bahamian people $20,000 for every inmate that's incarcerated at the Bahamas Correctional Department. I believe that if we was to invest a small portion of that in prevention and intervention, then the recidivist rate at the prison don't have to be almost 80%. It's a serious indictment on us as a people when our school system has a 80% failing rate, but then the prison has a 80% recidivist rate. I believe that we really need to think about how we invest our dollars. How do we invest the monies that we're taxing people so heavily on. Everything, according to John Maxwell, rise and fall with leadership. If you keep on thinking the way you always thought, then you keep on getting what you always got. If you don't get something different, you got to do something different. You don't get something that you never had before, then you got to do something that you never did.
And I know a lot of these young men are leaving behind young toddlers. What kind of impact can you say it will have on them?
It's a serious psychological effect because this thing has a domino effect. When you do studies like we have done, you find that a lot of the young men that are the most vicious, that are the serious killers, gang leaders in this country, they too went through trauma, but it was never dealt with. A lot of times, like when these gang members die on the street, it has a serious psychological effect on the young persons, and that's the next area that we have not addressed. I don't believe in the Bahamas we proactive, we reactive, we react to situations rather than being proactive to say, well, you know something, if we don't deal with this now, this is going to come back and this can cost us way more. Take, for instance, even with this COVID-19, there are so many people that are being affected and traumatized by some of the conditions that they have to face within this. How are we helping them? How are we providing psychological assistance so when people are faced with these situations, they could be able to cope? Why you think like the suicide rate so high? Why you think people so angry? Why you think like all the road rage is on the street? Because people are dealing with situations that they're not accustomed to. They don't know how to deal with it, and then we telling them that you got to behave.
Carlos Reed, it's always a pleasure having you here on the Morning Edition, and all the best to you this new year. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And still to come, we have the latest on the new school term, that and more when the Morning Edition comes. Right back.
Everything is changing, and your favorite hardware and home improvement store is getting with the program. We Buy You Sell is rolling out its new online shopping feature. If you go to our website, wbusbahamas.com, it's a quick and easy 3-step process. Step 1, browse the gallery and select your item. Step 2, add to cart. And Step 3, check out. Go to our website, wbusbahamas.com, to shop with us today.
That's why we got the... During this pandemic, it is our duty to ensure that all citizens, residents, and visitors are adhering to the COVID-19 safety protocol. Restaurants may operate utilizing curbside pickup, drive-through, takeaway, or delivery. Any establishment who allows the entry of any person not wearing a mask is liable upon a summary conviction to a fine of $500. I am Ambassador Ashanti Ruka of the COVID-19 Enforcement Unit. Save a life that may be your own.
This message brought to you by the Ministry of National Security in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
This holiday season, let's celebrate life by protecting it. Remember to follow all public health protocols. Wear a mask. My mask protects you, your mask protects me. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. Carry a personal hand sanitizer to sanitize on the go. Use technology to stay connected while we're apart. And don't forget to physical distance in public spaces. Have a happy, healthy holiday.
ZNS is everywhere you are when you download the new ZNS app. Watch our live channel to keep up with what's going on in the nation. News updates, we've got you covered. Tune into our radio stations with just a swipe. On the road, on the go, we're here with you. Available for download on the App Store and the Google Play Store.
Jamaican hotelier and business mogul Gordon Butch Stewart died in hospital yesterday. Stewart, the founder of Sandals Resorts International, the Atlanta Group, and the Jamaica Observer, died at 79. His death was confirmed in an internal memorandum issued to managers of the Sandals Group by his son, Sandals Deputy Chairman Adam Stewart. A number of Atlanta's employees, particularly in the food and beverage department, are once again being furloughed after executives revealed that a hike in COVID-19 cases in key markets and insufficient airlift were to blame for low occupancy levels in January. But the resort still remains open for business. President of the Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union, Darren Wood, says it's been an emotional roller coaster ride for Atlantis employees who were furloughed once before due to the COVID-19 pandemic, forcing the resort to shut its doors for several months.
Our industry is an industry that is driven by occupancy. So once occupancies dip, you will find that the employees will begin to work reduced days. There's a situation where they would go to working reduced days, and if it persists, they would then go to week on, week off.
While he could not say how long the furloughed exercise would last, Woods is asking that the process be carried out to allow affected employees time to catch themselves and provide for their families.
And there is no indication as to when the furlough is going to what they call it is going to end. Again, taking into consideration that we're still under the emergency order, but whatever assistance programs are in place at the time is what they would be eligible for.
When asked if other hotel properties would take the same approach for its employees due to the low occupancy levels, Woods responded this way.
Well, we know that Ocean Club would have made some persons redundant last week, so we've not heard from any of the other properties. We're still waiting to hear from the Malaya property because they have not indicated when they are going to reopen. But in the midst of the rising cases, we don't know when that is going to be, and so we're just waiting to see until hear.
Health officials reporting 4 new cases of COVID-19 in their latest release. They're here in New Providence and the other in Bimini and Cat Key. 2 are male and the other 2 female, bringing the total cases on record to 7,928. 10 people are hospitalized. 9 of those are classified as moderately ill, with the other in ICU. Deaths remain at 175. There are 1,441 active cases with 6,260 recoveries. To date, over 53,000 tests have been administered. San Salvador is one of the far-fetched islands least impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, at least for now. But as we usher in the new year, 2 residents of that island have contracted the virus while here in the capital. While they remain here in Nassau, San Salvador Administrator Earl Campbell is still encouraging residents to continue to practice health and safety protocols.
Residents on the island are very concerned, and I'm sure they have to go back to the drawing board to make some adjustments as to what they were doing right prior to these 2 cases, and now they have to make some adjustments now as to what they can do or further do to prevent the further spread of COVID-19 on San Salvador. But just keep in mind, it's going to be very difficult because we have the free movement of persons in and out of the island.
With COVID-19 still lurking around the world and here at home, parishioners are still hesitant to attend church services face-to-face and have opted to use live streaming methods to get their daily spiritual messages from their favorite religious leaders. While Bahamas Christian Council Bishop Delton Fernandez says the church will be taking their message outside of those 4 walls and will engage in more outreach initiatives despite the COVID environment.
We are moving into helping the state with backyard farming, and in our church properties, those that wish to be a part, we are planning to do a level of farming and community farming, and then encourage our parishioners to get into farming. We're providing training for a few of our pastors to go and be trained and then come back and train us in the different levels of counseling and different levels of addiction. We also are moving to a greater level of participation in some of the areas of society that we have not been as visible. We're working with some of the migrant populations to figure out how we can work together to provide them feasible living status and where they could live in a comfortable yet legal environment.
Stay close, we've got more right after this. You're watching The Morning Edition.
I'm Megan Shepard, a reporter here at the ZNS Northern Service. Did you know that ZNS is right at your fingertips when you download the new ZNS app? Missed something in our newscast? That's okay. Simply pull up the app, swipe, and you'll find all of our news headlines and highlights. So what are you waiting for? Download the new ZNS app today.
Hours into the start of the new school year, Ministry of Education officials released its figures on last year's national examinations at a press conference on Monday. The detailed report shows improvements in 15 subject areas, with a slight decline in students sitting the BGCSE national examinations. Education Minister, the Honorable Jeffrey Lloyd, admits, though, that the system is not perfect, but it has served its purpose.
And I declare unequivocally that the entire examination exercise was a success. It was worth the financial, emotional, mental, physical, and psychological costs. It was a remarkable accomplishment that has clearly disappointed a fair number of naysayers. The task was that upon completion of the examiner training, candidate sitting, and the marking and grading of the numerous examinations, those who had opted to take them would receive valid and reliable results. The task has been completed because of the efforts of so many. And I stand here today as the Minister of Education to say a deep thanks and appreciation to them for their grace of giving. They took part in building a solid future for our country's youth, and ultimately building a better future for our country.
It's been a bumpy ride for schools trying to maintain operations throughout the pandemic, but as a new term begins, safety and consistency remains the order of the day. Like Blairwood Academy on Village Road, it is a unique environment in that for its 85-plus students, care and attention to detail can literally make the difference. Principal Kim Kusalakis argues with most students at the school facing one or more learning hurdles. COVID restrictions last term created a nightmare. She is hopeful that terms 2 will usher in increased face-to-face time between teachers and students. However, some adjustments will be made.
Our kids learn differently. They are auditory, visual, kinesthetic learners, and there is a mixed bag of them. So what happens is we need to do multisensory learning to teach them. And that is very hard if you're trying to do a Zoom call and the child is looking this way or looking that way or disinterested in what you're teaching. So it has been extremely difficult. So yes, we're going to do 4 hours for each group, 4 hours for the primary and 4 hours for the secondary, but we will do some one-on-one remote learning as well.
Kuskalis says parents are appreciative of the efforts from the school to push toward its own model of blended learning, but some economic infrastructure shortcomings continue to plague a number of families.
Again, the blended learning has been tough because a lot of kids may not even have working internets or working computers. But when they come, we try to get in as much as we can coming into the classroom. And our kids need that one-on-one time. That is how they learn and function to their best capabilities, is by having more of that one-on-one. And I have found, because there's not a lot of break times and things like that, and we're trying to get as much as we can into the 4 hours, they're actually learning quite a bit.
As students enrolled in the public school system begin the new school year over in Acklands, the Ministry of Education is amalgamating Lovely Bay Primary and Snug Corner Primary Schools. District Superintendent for the South Central Bahamas, Jerome Forbes, says the move is necessary as the student population in those schools diminished over the years.
When we look at the students in those schools, we felt that we could have offered more if we amalgamate our resources and bring the students together at one site and allow the qualified teachers to now have certain number of grade levels as opposed to teaching across the curriculum from preschool to grade 12. And so by maximizing those resources that way, the students are coming out as beneficiaries as opposed to having just been scattered and just having 3 students in the class there, 5 students in the class there. By combining those classes, we are able to offer the students more.
Students at the Mangrove Key High School will benefit in the coming months from a new library at that institution. Principal Caroline Thompson says the library will be a first for that school.
We have renovated a building, and we are getting ready to complete our library project, where we'll have the first Mangrove Key High School first library and media center completed. That is a major undertaking that we are working on, and we are more than halfway there. Ministry of Education did the major parts of the renovations, and right now we are looking on shelving and donation of books and media equipment to complete it. So that is where we will be reaching out to the community for assistance.
Stay close. The Morning Edition is back right after this. Now available for local entrepreneurs involved in the e-commerce and technology. The E-Commerce Advisory Board of the Bahamas offering $250,000 in grants and funding for qualified businesses. Chairman Edison Sumner says the technology and innovation grants are important to spark creativity and innovation in the country's e-commerce and technology industries.
We've established a technology innovations grant to support those SMEs throughout the country, to assist them in areas whether they wish to establish an e-commerce platform or a digital payments gateway or developing a website or something of that nature, where these companies are able to employ innovative technological initiatives in their businesses, whether it is an upstart where they're just getting started and they need the support to get this done, or whether it's an existing business where they're seeking now to expand the business or to employ some new innovative ideas to cause the business to grow. So we've put aside some support for those kinds of businesses, SMEs particularly.
Well, it's a new year with many people still unsure of what the future holds. But in this next feature, one law student shares that hard work pays off. Here's Lloyd Allen.
From high school, I knew I wasn't a top A student, so I didn't expect to get, of course, a lot of scholarship opportunities going into undergrad.
21-year-old Ian Finley says, like many high school graduates, fears of not being good enough loomed as he transitioned to college. But he soon realized that, like most things in life, consistency pays off.
I had to really push myself. Being a first-generation student as well, I didn't have anybody really in my immediate family to tell me the steps I needed to take. My experience in a marching band, I could hopefully secure a marching band scholarship, which I was able to do in entering Shaw University.
He started Shore University in 2017 with the hopes of starting a new chapter.
Like a blank canvas, I was able to fully, I wouldn't say start over, but able to build on what I've been, learning and what my parents have been nurturing since I've been home. I was in the marching band. I became an RA. My freshman year was kind of stressful because, of course, the money was tight. I was only on a marching band scholarship.
Ian says slowly he evolved, becoming a leader on and off campus and excelling academically. This, he says, paved the way to a number of scholarships and now a 3.92 GPA with graduation set for May 2021.
I founded the International Students Association at my university, and now I'm serving as the student body president. One of my professors, actually from Honors College, suggested that I pursue a law degree because he knew that coming from a historically black college, I would be able to get a lot of scholarship opportunities, even at predominantly white institutions, as well as HBCU Law School.
Ian has since applied to several law schools with overwhelming results, leaving him in the driver's seat in this new chapter.
The process was very, hard. Applying to law school, you of course need to take the LSAT. I applied to 9 schools in total, heard back from 8, and got accepted to all 8 thus far, with almost $400,000 in scholarship thus far and a full ride from the University of Florida.
That scholarship, he says, is in honor of Congressman, the late John Lewis. Ian's parents say they couldn't be happier.
He's very focused, and we're so proud of him because he's very focused. So We are just here to push him.
I say, here it is. He's done so well in school. Now he wants to go on. I can't say no.
And as the student presses toward a new year and a new phase of life, he says trust in God remains his greatest advice.
I'm going into a situation where I have my pick of the litter. I could choose where I want to go, and it just feels so, satisfying to know that. So in this whole process, I would say what I learned is to, trust God and know that, he's going to make a way at the end of everything.
For the morning edition, Lloyd Allen, ZNS Network News.
Thanks a lot, Lloyd. And just before we go, we would like to send out a special J5 Founders Day to the men of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, especially to our very own Mr. Cool, Amajal Knowles. Shimmy the day away. And that's a wrap for us this morning. For the entire team, I'm LaDon Davis. Make it a great day, everyone.